Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you. Welcome to today's edition of Fire Your MD Now. To call me and talk to me live during the show, toll-free from anywhere in the U.S., it is 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. Lines are open. And, of course, you can visit me 24/7 on the World Wide Web at fireyourmdnow.com. And I mean it. I am not pulling any punches here. The best possible thing that anybody listening, anybody in this country, anybody in earshot of this radio, anybody anywhere, so if you've got friends or family or church members or community members not listening to this radio broadcast, point them to the podcast, which runs for 24 hours after this show ends. When the live show ends, the recorded version of it runs for 24 hours. So you can just go to the website, point and click. We have an app for your Android, and pretty soon we're going to have an app for the iPhone. So you can just listen 24/7 to this show. Send your friends 24/7 to this show, because we are building a grassroots coalition of the informed, an army of sorts, in order to change the way that medicine is practiced in the United States. Why? Because healing is easy, number one. Number two, your MD does not own medicine. They just don't. They're not trained in medicine. They're trained in one piece of the medical pie. It's referred to as allopathic reductionism. Allopathic reductionism is good for trauma sometimes. It's good for emergency medicine most of the time. It's good for surgery most of the time, all of the time actually, when surgery is indicated. And it's also good for a handful of infectious diseases, but that's it. That is where we draw the line. The reason that we have a healthcare crisis in the United States is because everybody goes to the MD. And the MD's therapeutics, the type of medicine that they're trained in, the piece of the pie that they're trained in, doesn't work in the treatment of chronic illness. It doesn't work. That's why we still have cancer. That's why heart disease stats haven't changed. That's why our life expectancy is getting shorter, because the MDs do not know what they're doing when it comes to chronic disease. If you had mold in your basement and you just painted over it, would that fix the problem? No. A couple months from now, you'd be mold back in the basement. If you had a pond in your backyard, you had a man-made pond in the backyard, right? And there's a fresh water source coming into the pond, and then there's a drain to take the old water away. So the water in the pond is refreshed all of the time. Well, if the drain got clogged, the pond would fill up with stagnant water, right? Or you'd have stagnant water in the pond, and now you're going to have mosquitoes, because there's a gazillion, trillion, bazillion mosquitoes in the world, and they've got to live somewhere. And guess what? Mosquitoes breed in stagnant water, so now you've got mosquitoes in your backyard. The MD solution to mosquitoes in the backyard is to go down to the pond and pour pesticide on it, or, drop a napalm balm on it. Kill all the bugs, kill all the mosquitoes, kill them, baby, just kill them. Well, if you use enough explosive, if you use enough pesticide, you'll kill the bugs. But a month later, guess what? They're back, because the water is still stagnant. Well, that's why they can't fix chronic disease, because all chronic disease is rooted in nutrient deficiencies, malnutrition. And I'm not talking about Biafran malnutrition, with kids that haven't eaten in 6 years. I'm talking about 90 essential nutrients that the human body needs that it is impossible to get into the body just from food. You can't do it. You can't do it. It is impossible to fulfill your body's nutritional needs just from eating from the 4 food groups. But because your MD has no training in medical nutrition, because your MD has no respect, no appreciation, no, anything at all to do with medical nutrition, because they are colorblind in this regard, and because they don't know that they're colorblind in this regard, their therapeutics must fail. Which is why they fail. We've pumped $1 trillion into cancer research, and we've got squat. MDs will tout that their effective treatment for breast cancer, is saved thousands, hundreds of thousands of women's lives. Well, hacking off the breast is hardly a sophisticated treatment for breast cancer. I mean, it's a treatment. But it doesn't, again, get to the root cause of the problem. And most women who have mastectomies, most women who have chemotherapy or radiation for breast cancer, eventually it comes back. And then they die of breast cancer, and that's why they have the Susan G. Komen, 5K march for breast cancer, because the MD therapeutics are ineffective. They're a little bit effective, but if there was an outbreak of hand psoriasis, right, hand leprosy, spreading all over the country, hand leprosy, oh my God. One solution would be to cut the hand off. Well, that's what the MDs do. And we accept it because we believe, incorrectly, we have been lulled into a false sense of satisfaction. We, in the back of our minds, in the middle of our minds, and in the front of our minds, we actually believe that if the MDs can't fix it, it can't be fixed. We actually believe that the MD knows what's best for us, but the MD only knows what the MD has been trained in. And what the MD has been trained in is one eeny-weeny teeny piece of the greater science of medicine. And while the MD has been driving the bus of medicine in the United States for the last 100 years, our health has gone right to you-know-where in a handbasket. Everything's getting worse. Everybody's sick. Everybody has arthritis. Everybody has high blood pressure. Everybody has type 2 diabetes. Everybody's getting Alzheimer's. Autism now, 1 out of 80 kids. Cancer hasn't changed. Heart disease hasn't changed. And yet we give the MDs a pass. They stink at what they do. If the plumbing in your house was a problem, and you called a plumbing company, and there was only one plumbing company, the state that you lived in passed a law which only allowed one plumbing company to work in your state. Acme Plumbing. It's the only plumbing company they allowed in your state. And Acme Plumbing had 10,000 licensed plumbers in your state. And so you've got a leak in your sink, and the Acme plumber sends his plumber out to your house, and they charge you $5,000, and the leak isn't fixed. 7 days after they leave, the leak's back. Well, what would you do? Would you call Acme Plumber again? Well, you might, since they're the only show in town. You might give them 2 chances. Some people might give them 3. But when they consistently fail, you would fire them. You would get a self-help book on plumbing and figure it out yourself, because they're charging you exorbitant amounts of money, and they stink at what they do, and their therapeutics are ineffective. They can't fix the leak consistently. They fail at what they do. It's exactly the same with the MD. But we give them a pass. Your mother dies of cancer. You give them a pass. Your nephew is born with autism. You give them a pass. The child, your next door neighbor's kid dies of a heart attack from a cardiomyopathy heart attack while he's playing basketball. He's in a basketball playoffs and dies of a cardiomyopathy heart attack, and enlarged heart. You give him a pass. You're on 17 prescription medicines. You give them a pass. And you beg the government to pass a law which gives you more access to this system of medicine that consistently fails. Oh, we need more plumbers. We need more of those ineffective Acme plumbers. That's what we need. We need more plumbers. We need insurance companies to give us access to the plumbers. Because, holy smokes, they're so very expensive. Well, why are they very expensive? Because they stink at what they do. And this is it. And I'm the only one that's talking about this. Well, I'm not the only one talking about this. My colleague Dr. Wallach and I are the only ones that are talking about this. We're the only ones putting it out there. We are the only ones pulling back the curtain and saying, listen, this is not a negative rant against individual MDs. Your medical doctor may be an upstanding facet of your community. He or she may work for Doctors Without Borders. He or she may donate hundreds of hours of free time every year to your community's soup kitchen. They might go overseas and help underprivileged kids with cleft lip and cleft palate surgery. They might be a supporting member of the Rotary and give tens of thousands of dollars of donations to your favorite charity every year, and they might be the nicest person you've ever met. Even though they might be the nicest person you've ever met, they work for and support and promote a profession and make money supporting and promoting a profession which is the leading cause of death in the United States. And they work for and support and promote the legitimacy and the resiliency of a profession which has gone out of its way to jail and defame and defraud and demonize every other medical professional in the United States. Oh, the MDs will tell you, don't see those chiropractors. Oh, don't go to see those naturopaths. Well, guess what? I just came from my chiropractor. Fantastic. A good chiropractor is worth their weight in gold. In gold. And by the way, the American Medical Association in 1984, in a class action suit called Wilkes versus the AMA, the American Medical Association was found guilty in federal court of promoting a 10-year slander campaign against the chiropractors and ordered to pay the chiropractors $25 million. But nobody went to jail. The only way that the MDs maintain their place at the top is by keeping everybody else underneath the heel of their jack boot. Your next door neighbor, your MD, might be a really nice guy, might be a really great woman, but they support and promote a profession which is the leading cause of death in the United States, the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, and which, while under their supervision, your friends and family members and church members are dying. But before they're dying, they're suffering, and then they're dying, and before they're suffering, they're going bankrupt. Ladies and gentlemen, snap out of it, swallow the red pill, and fire your MD now. Fire your MD now. And I am as serious as a heart attack when I say that, but you know that already. Can't say enough about this chiropractor. His name is Matt Peel. He works in Hinsdale, Illinois. I'm giving him a free plug because, man, woo, I don't know if you've had any experience with chiropractors, ladies and gentlemen, but you don't know what you're missing. A good chiropractic adjustment, especially by someone who's trained like Dr. Peel is in applied kinesiology, whew, man, it will rock your body and change your world. Really, really great stuff. You know, medical nutrition is the best kept secret in modern American medicine. It is, because nobody knows anything about it. Nobody has any clue even of the potential for human nutrition to help support and promote the body's ability to fix itself. But if you have a mechanical problem with your body, if you have an anatomical problem with your body, if your neck is not on your shoulders correctly, if one leg is shorter than the other, like mine was, there's no amount of nutrition in the world that's going to pop that back into place. You need mechanical medicine. Sometimes you need to jack the car up, right? You don't just need to put air in the tire. You need to jack the car up and change the tire. Well, sometimes you need chiropractic, and a good chiropractor, in this doctor's opinion, is worth their weight in gold. I'm going to go right to the phones right now, as we do every day here at Fire Your MD Now. Mike is calling in with a question about back pain. Mike, thanks for calling. You're live with Dr. Glidden.
How fitting it is for you to talk about chiropractors.
Why? Are you a chiropractor?
No, I'm not. I wish I was. I wish I had the knowledge, but I don't.
Let me guess, you've got back pain, right?
No. Well, no, that's correct. I want to thank you, first of all, for your great show, and I want to thank you for helping my friends in your personal consultation. They've really been benefited. So, yeah, my wife works for a chiropractor. She's the office manager, and he's 60 years old. He's been a chiropractor for 40 years, and so I get free adjustments, but I need more.
Yeah, well, we all do. It's like the two sides of the coin. You need the adjustments, you need the mechanical stuff, and you need the nutritional stuff. And when you put them together, woohoo, look out, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to need some more of your adjustments on one side of it anyway. Let me. I'm hoping to tell you what's wrong with me and then tell you what longevity products I've been taking. Okay.
Okay, great.
I'm 59 years old. Back in high school, I started doing wrestling. I experienced a pain between my shoulder blades off and on all through my life. I've just lived with it. I do a lot of heavy physical work. Last winter, it started to get unbearable, where I've really started, and there's nothing I could do really to alleviate the pain. I could sit on 10 pounds of ice for 3 hours, and the pain would still remain. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it affected my shoulders, and I'm losing my range of motion, my shoulders, and it's just an incredible aching pain. I've been on a good food, bad food diet for about 6 months, and I am taking a plethora of longevity products. And
usually with pain that's this intense and this persistent, if you go to a halfway decent medical professional, they're going to be able to give you a heads up on what they believe that it is. So has anybody been able to do that?
I got an MRI about 4 years ago, and there wasn't really any negative results in that, Doc.
All right, so that means it's soft tissue and or related to an acupuncture meridian. All right, so continue.
I've been to really great acupuncturists too. We really experienced acupuncturists from China, and I have not gotten results from acupuncture either.
Okay, tell me what the symptom is. It's a strong and persistent pain between your shoulders?
That's exactly right. Now, I'm sure you've had this, and I'm sure everybody's had this, but you've got imagine you having a real bad cold that settles in your back.
Exactly correct.
Achy, just crummy feeling, and then it feels like a dry, achy pain, and that also shoots down into my feet and also my hands, okay, at the same time. But it's not as an intense in my extremities as it is right between my shoulder blades.
And is there anything that you're aware of that aggravates that condition or that makes it feel better?
Not really.
Like walking, lying, sitting, running, laughing, eating. Does anything aggravate it? You can't lie on your right side, or if you.
Okay. If I had a bunch of sugar, it would aggravate it. I don't do this, but if I drank a bunch of soda pop, or if I drank a lot of coffee, it would aggravate it.
Talking to Mike about chronic back pain. So here's the rundown, Mike. When we have chronic and persistent symptoms, and we've had a diagnostic discovery done, and nobody knows what it is. Well, that's a good thing because, there's no tumor pressing on anything. There's no overt structural damage, right? So these are all good things. However, you're still in the weeds. You still have trouble. So what we do 100% of the time in a situation like this is we clean the diet up, number one, and you've done that. Number two, we give your body all of the stuff that it needs for 90 days in the form of the essential nutrients appropriate for your body weight and see what happens. So I guess this begs the question, what supplements specifically have you been taking for the last few months?
Okay. For the last 6 weeks, this is what I've been taking. 2 ounces of the Ultimate Body Toddy.
Yeah.
In the time release, method, slowly. 2 ounces of Cal Toddy. Been taking both liquid glucogel and capsules, okay?
How much?
Equivalent to 1 per 10 pounds of body weight per day.
Okay, very good.
And then 2 Cell Shield.
Yep.
8 selenium.
Yep.
The appropriate amount of EFAs.
Yep.
Now, this is the cherry on top. I'm a high risk area for Lyme's disease. After seeing your video, which I think everybody should watch your archive videos. They're absolutely great.
Yeah.
I'm taking 10 Teasol 3 times a day.
Yeah.
2 Killer Biotics twice a day, and again, 4 ounces of plant-derived minerals plus CM cream.
All right. Have you gotten any relief at all?
No.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. How much do you weigh?
200.
All right. So here's what I want you to do for 7 days, all right, as an experiment, and then call me back. I want you to maintain the dosage of everything that you're doing. However, I want you to double the Cal Toddy dose. I want you to take 1 ounce of Cal Toddy 4 times a day, and I want you to take that in orange juice. And for 7 days in a row, I don't want you to have any grains or any legumes. I don't want you to have any beans, any rice, any peanuts, any nuts, any gluten-free, anything. 0 tolerance for grains, 0 tolerance for beans, 0 tolerance for rice, 0 tolerance for peanuts for 7 days. All right? 0 tolerance for all that stuff, and double the amount of the Osteo FX Plus that you're taking, and each time you take it in orange juice. I want you to check that out and give me a call back next Tuesday with an update, and we'll see where we're at. Does that sound good?
Doc, thanks for all your help.
All right, Mike, keep up the good work, man. We'll whittle away at this and figure it out. Thank you so much for the call. Now, talking about a 2-month callback, we've got Al, I think, who's still with us, calling back to tell us what's going on. Al, welcome back. You're live with Dr. Glidden.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Glidden there.
Yeah.
I had osteoarthritis, kidney stones, and headaches. I've had no trouble with the kidney stones whatsoever.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. We got to dial this in, all right, and thank you. So what do you mean? Were you passing a kidney stone before?
When I first, I had bad flank pain in the kidneys. I have kidney stones every single year where they have to do lithotripsy to...
Oh, is that right? And you were having that...
12 millimeters that big.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, all right. So you were dealing with that. You took the supplements and that went away, right?
Right. In fact, they did a metabolic panel of mine, and the BUN kept rising every 3 months, but it dropped from 17 to 10. So
I love my job.
And my liver enzymes actually went down quite a bit, too.
Yeah, that's remarkable. That's the selenium doing that. Okay, very good. All right, excellent, man. What else?
The osteoarthritis, originally within 2 weeks, it had gone away. However, in the last couple of weeks, it is. I start to ache at night.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, before you talk to me, what was your arthritis pain? Where was it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, I could only sleep a couple hours a night.
All right, and so when that pain went away, did it go away to 0, or did it, just go like down to 5? All right, but now it's back, right? A little bit.
Right.
All right.
My legs.
All right, and when it's back, is it a 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9? What is it?
Oh, it's probably about a 5 or 6.
Okay, and when it's back now at a 5 or a 6, is it the same as it was before? Like it's as frequent as it was before? Is it more frequent or less frequent than it was before?
It's probably about the same at night there. I can sleep better still. I mean, it goes away. I kind of move around in bed a little bit, but...
Okay, excellent. Very, very good. Very good job. So the game is afoot here. I love stuff like this because, I got to get to put my detective hat on, right? So, something's happening here. And the first 2 things to consider when you get the complete resolution of a symptom that you've had for a long time, but then it comes back, or at least one little piece of it comes back, right? That happens either because you're not taking enough of the stuff or you're not absorbing what you're taking. And when you're not absorbing what you're taking, it's because you're cheating with the diet. So, in the last couple of weeks, have you fallen off of the good food, bad food diet, or what's going on there?
I'm on it religiously.
Okay. And you haven't changed the dosage or changed up one of the products or anything, right?
The only thing is I was on the Ultra Body Toddy, but it gave me diarrhea real bad. So you switched me to the anti-aging daily premium pack.
Okay. So here's what we need to do in order to fix that. Here's what I want you to do. How about rice or beans or peanuts or gluten-free grains? Are you eating any grains at all, or did you just go cold turkey even with gluten-free stuff?
We have like the balsamic rice.
Yeah.
Once every 10 days or so. But
That's
I don't
it.
eat any peanuts or anything, and greens are rarely. Maybe some buckwheat.
Yeah, okay. All right, interesting. All right, so here's what I'd like you to do, please, for 7 days. How much of the white liquid calcium are you taking?
The Ultra Body Cal Toddy, I'm taking 2 ounces 3 times a day.
Okay, you're taking 6 ounces a day? How much do you weigh, man?
I weigh about 260. You had me at 1 ounce 3 times a day, and then because my headache's 2 and that, you said double the amount.
Yeah, okay.
Calcium.
All right. Now, do you have any problem with blood sugar at all?
Once in a while I do.
Has anybody ever told you, like, you're pre-diabetic or anything like that?
No, he said my other doctor, has said if you kind of watch what you eat. I can usually watch what I eat. If I drink, like, orange juice or something in the morning, sometime, after lunch or something and that, it'll kind of drop once in a while. Okay.
All right, so here's what I'd like you to do, please. I want you to back off on the Cal Toddy. I want you to take 1 ounce 3 times a day, and each time that you take it, I'd like you to put it in 2 ounces or 3 ounces of orange juice, all right? Just a little bit of orange juice, 2 to 3 ounces of orange juice. Mix it with the Cal Toddy and chuck it down 1 ounce 3 times a day. I want you to do that for 7 days. Sometimes you can take, the body, it's like a balancing act, right? And if we take too much of a couple of things for too long, you can upset the apple cart with the metabolism of the other stuff. So I want you to back down. Now, 1 ounce 3 times a day, that's a 300-pound person dose. And I'm okay with a 300-pound person dose because a 300-pound person dose is a maintenance dose for someone who's 300 pounds. You at 200 and something, you're going to need the 200-pound dose plus a little extra, right? And that's how we figure it. So I want you to back off, please, on the Cal Toddy to 1 ounce 3 times a day. But each time you take it, put in just a little bit of orange juice because that will help your body to assimilate it. And one last thing I'd like you to do. If the pain flares up, is there like a time of the day, randomly or regularly when the pain flares up?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is there?
Yeah, is there? Yeah.
For for the osteoarthritis, it's usually probably 9 or 10 o'clock. For my headaches, I usually wake up in the morning with them. So.
All right. So the next time that the osteoarthritis flares up, I want you to look to see what you ate for dinner and just write it down. Now, is it flaring up every night, guaranteed, every single solitary night? What do you think?
No, it flares up every night.
Every single solitary night. Well, then scratch that theory. Okay. So here's what I'd like you to do, please. I'd like you to make note of what time it flares up. Just keep a little pen and pencil by the bed, and when the back pain flares up, I want you to check the clock out and write down what time it is, all right? And I want you to keep a running list of that for 7 days, and then dose down the Cal Toddy to 1 ounce 3 times a day. Call me back in 7 days with a report. We're going to see what happens, because different organ systems, like your liver or your spleen or your kidney or your gallbladder or your stomach or your large intestine or your small intestine, are related to different times of the day. So if you have a consistent problem at the same hour every day, then that gives us an indication that, well, there's an organ system here that we need to take a look at. Like, maybe your small intestine needs a little bit of help, and I know that doesn't make sense. Well, why would that be causing my osteoarthritis to flare up? But everything's connected. And so we pay attention to all of these subjective symptoms that the MDs just write off as, fairy tale happenstance, right? So just please be mindful of the time that this flares up. Continue everything that you're doing the way that you're doing it, and back down to 1 ounce of the Cal Toddy 3 times a day in orange juice, and give me a call back in 7 days with a report. Sound good, Al? All right, Al, thanks so much for calling. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your trust. We have time for one more caller in this segment, if we're lucky. Megan is calling with a bruise that just won't heal. Megan, you are live with Dr. Glidden.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Glidden, for taking my call. I, a year ago, had gotten a tattoo, and where the man had held my arm has left a thumbprint-sized bruise that has yet to heal.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like a little black and blue?
You know, it goes from black and blue to like a light greenish blue, and say if like I lay on that side or I lift something, it goes back to looking bruised again.
All right. So the first thing to consider there, I mean, just from shooting from the hip, would be bioflavonoids, that your body is deficient in bioflavonoids. So the easiest thing to do is just to go to the health food store and pick up a bottle of vitamin C with bioflavonoids in it and take triple the dose that it says on the bottle for 7 days and see if that makes a difference. Now, you know, the holistic doctor inside of me is screaming at the top of his voice at me because I just told you to do that, because that is a patently reductionistic thing to do, right? It's not holistic at all. So it's one thing that you can do, but there's a better thing that you can do. So here's the deal, Megan. This really isn't rocket science. If we have someone with a bone and joint problem, then we give them the 90 essential nutrients that everybody needs, plus a little extra bone and joint stuff. If we have somebody with a liver condition, we give them the 90 essential nutrients plus a little extra liver support. If we have somebody with a central nervous system dysfunction, we give them the 90 essential nutrients plus a little extra liver stuff. So in this case, the recommendation, because remember, healing is easy, and once you get a clue and start to follow this program and, stay tuned in and listen to the testimonials, and maybe even, heaven forbid, you join our merry little band of men and women here for $10 and start to advocate this approach, our approach of health recovery through medical nutrition, your mind will be blown at how easy all of this is. And it is. So what do? The recommendation for you, what's your current body weight?
I'd say maybe like 120.
Okay, so it's just one healthy start pack. One healthy start pack and 2 bottles of selenium. One healthy start pack and 2 bottles of selenium. And because it's your skin, you can throw in 1 extra bottle of glucogel at the 180 count. Glucogel at the 180 count. So that's 1 healthy start pack, 2 bottles of selenium, and 1 bottle of glucogel. If you take those supplements, not only is the skin probably going to heal all by itself, but everything else is going to improve. Because everybody's nutritional tank is running on low. Everybody's nutritional tank is running on empty, because it's impossible to get all of the stuff that your body needs to maintain its health just from eating from the 4 food groups. You can't do it. So it is only a matter of time until your body runs out of something, and then something starts to break. And a chronic, persistent symptom, I don't care what it is, I don't care if it's a hangnail. If it's a chronic, persistent symptom, that is an indication that the game is afoot in your body and that it's a little red flag, right? So we need to fix this before it turns into something else, and before we get like crazy going to a dermatologist or worrying about all this expensive discovery that we can do. All that we do is just give your body everything that it needs, appropriate for your body weight, get out of the way and see what happens. Now, are you familiar with a type of medicine called homeopathy?
Yes, I am. I've researched a lot of this stuff, and I'm impressed with it.
Did you try any homeopathy for this?
I haven't. No, I'm not quite sure what to do exactly.
All right, so for blunt trauma, for any type of blunt trauma, which ends in a black and blue, whether there's swelling or not, the first homeopathic medicine to consider is Arnica montana. Now, any health food store in the world, any Whole Foods, anywhere will sell homeopathic Arnica montana, and you want to get the little pellets, not the gel, not the skin cream. Get the little homeopathic pellets, Arnica montana, in the 30C strength. That's C like Charlie, 30C. And at 120 pounds, I would take 2 pellets of the Arnica montana 3 times a day for 3 days. That's it. 2 pellets of the Arnica montana 30C strength 3 times a day for 3 days as a little extra kick, because homeopathy is like jump-starting a dead battery in a car. It's going to give your body a boost. It's going to give your body a jolt. But to keep the car running, You need the oil and the power steering fluid and the gas in the tank and air in the tires, and, the wheels go round and round, right? So we support and promote the body's ability to fix itself by providing the body all of the raw materials that it needs, and then in your case, boom, we give it a little extra jolt with the homeopathic Arnica Montana, and life is going to be good. So give that a try. And for heaven's sake, you've had this for a long time. Call me back with a report, because we love testimonials, and thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we had another caller on the line. Mark was calling with an overactive bladder. Mark, if you're still listening, 99% of the time, overactive bladders are caused by degenerative disc disease. Degenerative disc disease in the spine, little nerves that are coming out of your spinal cord that go to your bladder are being pressed upon because the discs aren't what they used to be. So go to a chiropractor, have him check that part of your back out, and take 1 Healthy Start Pack, 2 bottles of selenium, and 1 bottle of glucogel per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Clean your diet up and watch what happens to your bladder. Ladies and gentlemen, healing is easy. You better start believing me, because it's the truth. I'll see you tomorrow right here at the Genesis Communication Network on Fire Your MD Now.